I follow you.
Hey! Very interesting exploring in this forest, and I'm seeing traces from the turpentine industry out here. These pine trees that were once tapped for the sap and resin, and it was used in the production of making turpentine and other byproducts. You see, at one time, turpentine was Florida's largest industry, had an array of uses, everything from medicinal to industrial. So there were many turpentine camps around, and you can see traces from them in these areas, like this tree here. You can see the markings. There's a piece of the metal there attached where they had the collecting cups. Let's keep exploring. Nice, listen to the sounds of the flowing water here at the creek. Roaming through these woods, seeing lots of traces from the turpentine history out here. Very interesting. Must have been a lot of activity in this place. Quiet today, nature's reclaimed the area. See more cat-faced trees just up ahead. Forest of pines. See, during the old days when there was turpentine operations going on in these areas, there were a lot of old pine trees still standing in this area, and many of them unfortunately were logged out after the turpentine operations were abandoned in the area. The loggers would often come in and take down the trees that were left over. During the turpentine era, a lot of these camps would grow these pine trees, much like crops. And they would want these pine trees to last as long as possible. This way they can keep producing and manufacturing turpentine. And these trees were vital to the industry. And the industry was also vital to many towns and the economy all around the state of Florida. This is a very interesting example of a pine tree that was once utilized during the turpentine industry in this area, tapped into, and you can see the scarring from it. What's interesting is the tree has begun to heal over where it was once scarred and tapped into. You can see the metal gutters and nails still sticking out of the tree here, but it's growing around them. Right here you can see. So this tree lives on. And it's an example of how back in those times when they were utilizing these areas for turpentine operations, they would want these pine trees to last as long as possible. So they would cut into them, tap the trees in such a way that they could heal over and be used over and over again. And this way they could yield more product, turpentine. The area would have looked a lot different in those times here. Swamps today. Now here's a pine tree from the turpentine industry, more defined. You can see the cat face markings here in the tree. The gutter and nails still there. Simply incredible discovering history out here in the woods. Just envision past exploring through these areas. You can sense it. Someone at one time was standing by this tree working for the Turpentine camp, tapping into this tree. Still here today to discover and learn about. Now eventually, looks like this tree is a little burned up. It'll still grow and will heal over in that area where it was tapped into. Continue into the swamps. Double cat faces here. See him standing here in the forest. You can see the V-shaped markings carved into this tree. And that's why they're referred to as cat faces. I claim this forest. Now that's adventuring. Standing in the middle of this area in the forest, and at one time this would have been part of a pine plantation, turpentine camps nearby this area. Try and navigate around this area. A lot of water out here. Just walk through that area. Lots of water. I was able to navigate around though and continue on this way through the woods. So nice out here. Nothing but the sounds of nature and wilderness all around. It's amazing to be out here. even though there can be some challenging moments, like going through some areas that may be flooded, going through the brush, going off the beaten path. It's well worth it. It's part of the adventure. Opens up out here. Nice cool breeze flowing through here. It feels great. There'd be many barrels in these areas stocked with turpentine and byproducts from camps out in this area. And a lot of the wood doesn't remain from these barrels, and all I'm seeing is just the metal rings wrapped around them. Seeing some Herty cut fragments here. Looking closely around the area. Now, when I'm observing this history out here in the woods, I leave everything as I see it. How about this? Walking through an old turpentine camp, or what remains of one that was here. Would have been a still, structures around the area, lots of activity going on here. Only traces from the past remain today. Following this pathway through the camp, and it may have been a road used at one time out here. Seeing more clearings just up ahead. See remnants from a Herty cup here. And this one's nearly intact. There's the hole there on top or attached to the tree. There's the bottom part of it. See part of a barrel ring here. Wow, this is becoming the cat-faced tree adventure, turpentine adventure, if you will. Exploring for good ways into these woods and seeing lots of these old pine trees around, even pine stumps. So a lot of activity in this area. In fact, you can see where much of this has been cleared out in the past. Cat-faced tree. Crossed over this creek, got a little wet. That's okay. We're out here exploring. If we're not getting wet or dirty, it's on an adventure.